Hello, friends. I am back for a reading from Saturday, November 5th, 2016. I think that I figured out some of my core beliefs / wounds yesterday. I actually already knew them and have written about them before. I just didn't know the significance of them or the effect that they have on my life. Anyway, they are: I am not enough. I'm too much. I don't matter. Ironic and contradictory. I'm not enough leads to I'm not good enough, to no matter how hard I try, it will never be enough to get the love that I want. I'm too much leads to I'm too sensitive, I'm too emotional, I overreact, I overanalyze, leads to I'm crazy. I don't matter leads to I'm not important, to my needs are not important, my feelings are not important, my problems don't matter, to I shouldn't speak up, I shouldn't burden people with my unimportant issues, etc., etc. And here I start going into a lot of self-discovery work, just trying to learn about myself. I am an INFJ, which is described as the protector. This personality type. So if you guys don't know about the Myers-Briggs personality type, you can do all kinds of free tests online. This is based on Jungian psychology. Myers-Briggs made this test, and essentially it tells you what your personality type is. And because I was really into psychology, I enjoyed some of these personality type tests, and because I felt like it helped me understand myself better. So I'm an INFJ, which is described as the protector. An INFJ is introverted. The letters for this, INFJ, that stands for introverted. The N is for intuitive. The F is for feeling, and the J is for judging. My primary mode of living is focused internally, taking things in via the intuition. My second mode is external, dealing with things according to how I feel about them or how they fit into my personal value system. The INFJ personality type is supposed to be gentle, caring, complex, and highly intuitive, artistic, and creative. Live in a world of hidden meanings and possibilities. I can't remember where I got this. I've got like a list here. It appears that I've written this down from something. I think I might have written this down from the personality test that I did. INFJs are deep, complex individuals, quite private, and typically difficult to understand. They hold back part of themselves and can be secretive. Genuinely warm, concerned for people's feelings, try to be gentle to avoid hurting others. Very sensitive to conflict and cannot tolerate it well. Internalize conflicts in the body and manifest illness under stress. Such strong intuitive capabilities that they trust in instincts above all else, which can lead to stubbornness. Perfectionist who doubts they are living up to their full potential, rarely at complete peace with themselves. Believe in constant growth. A strong value system leads to need their lives to be in accordance with what feels right. Feeling. In some ways gentle and easygoing, but have very high expectations. Don't believe in compromising ideals. Natural nurturer, patient, devoted, protective. Make loving parents with strong bonds. High expectations lead to pushing children to be the best they can be, but can be stubborn. And here I have a breakdown of the Jungian functional preference ordering. I don't know if this is going to be interesting to you. So the dominant function of an INFJ is the introverted intuition. That's how I take in information from the external world. The auxiliary function is extroverted feeling, is how I make decisions with that information that I've taken in. The tertiary function of an INFJ is introverted thinking, and the inferior function is extroverted sensing. So the first letter I, which is introvert, that is the flow of energy. The second letter, intuition, N, is how we take in information. The third letter, F, is how we prefer to make decisions. And the fourth letter, J, is the basic day-to-day lifestyle that we prefer, organization versus spontaneity. So I'm just breaking down this INFJ thing. And now I go into my astrology. I am a Scorpio. That's my sun sign. It's the ideal self. Or the sun sign is the ideal self. Passionate, intense, depth, emotional, moody, magnetic, very personal, loyal friend, laying bare that which is hidden. The moon represents your memory, instinctive, unconscious side, relationship to the environment, emotional, what is needed to feel comfortable. My moon is in Capricorn. It's practical, sophisticated, can appear emotionally cold. You shine in situations which require detachment and cool assessment, or where others are in emotional turmoil. And then I have a bunch of question marks after that because I didn't feel like that really made sense for me. And there's a lot of information here. It's got all of my planets and houses, and I don't think I'm going to read all of this, but I will read my rising sign though, because those are when you're looking at astrology, that's kind of where you want to start, is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, which is the ascendant. And my rising sign is Sagittarius. It's direct, to the point, absolute truth, fairness, expansiveness. So I'm not going to bore you guys with all of my astrology. There's like pages and pages of where all my planets are and where all my houses are. Okay, and now I go into some parts work. And then there's all the parts that I learned with my old therapist. The little girl, which is the exile. And then the managers are the guard, the judge, the caretaker, and the shadow. That last one is new to my discovery. That's the wounded persona, the dark, broody, hurt mask that I hide behind. I think it came around in my teenage years and decided to stick around. I think it made me feel mysterious and alluring. I wanted someone, a man, to see it for what it was and want to dig deeper. I found myself attracted to similar characteristics and took it on myself, I think. It's not like I did any of that consciously at the time. I'm just now discovering that it is one of my managers, one of the ways I protect myself from the superficial. Only someone who's willing to dig deep would bother with trying to get through the shadow, a way of weeding out the faint of heart, I guess. So those are the parts. At least the ones that I had discovered up to that point. And I'm continuing on with my self-inquiry work. Then there's the question of being a highly sensitive person. Yes, I think that I am. That's about being sensitive to stimulation. Intuitive? Yes, I think so. That's my dominant function in my personality, INFJ. I do think that I have overridden my sensitivity. I do think that I have overridden my sensitivity to my intuition, though. I'm not as attuned to it probably because I purposefully stopped using it. I was trying to use my rational brain more, trying to be smarter, make smarter decisions. With intuition, you don't have a concrete reason for thinking something. You just feel it. And society doesn't really like that answer. Something in me didn't really like that answer, so I shoved that part of me aside. But Alan gave me a big lesson in that regard. The whole knowing there was something off about him, that I shouldn't trust him, but convincing myself I was just being cynical and that I should take him for his word and not read into it. Well, I definitely learned my lesson there and etched it on my skin so I would never again forget it. I'm going to make a side note here. After the relationship ended with Alan and I started looking deeper into things, I realized that there had been a lot of warning signs in the very beginning. I had been picking up on little red flags in the beginning there, that and what I'm realizing here is that my intuition was picking up on clues that my rational brain couldn't really understand. I was seeing things in him, but I didn't have a rational, logical explanation for what I was picking up on. So I ended up pushing those intuitions aside, consciously, purposefully, ignoring those signs. And in the aftermath of that relationship, I realized that's what I had done. I realized that those clues that I was getting in the very beginning were true. I had been picking up on signs that that were telling me that he had a manipulative side, that he was disingenuous, that there was something kind of false about some of his actions and words. It seemed to me that some of the things that he said were almost like staged or rehearsed, as if he wasn't being completely honest or truthful. He was saying what he thought that I wanted to hear. And so after that relationship ended, I realized that I had known all this stuff in the very beginning, but had chosen to ignore it. And so I actually, just a couple months after all of that went down with him getting arrested and having to leave, I actually got a tattoo on my forearm so that it was visible to me, so that I could, so that it would be a reminder for me. The tattoo is of a compass, and I actually got the idea. There was this DJ artist that I liked a lot, Future Primitive, that I was listening to a lot at that time. And he had a song called Dusted Compass. And that song title really resonated with me as like a metaphor for what I had been through with my intuition and choosing to ignore it. The dusted compass is, for me, it represented the fact that I have this thing within me that knows the way, that knows the truth, and that, maybe it had gotten covered up, and, pushed aside into the attic or whatever and had gotten all dusty, but that I could make the choice to dust it off and use it. And so, yeah, that's my tattoo, to remind myself to trust my intuition and that it's always there for me. I just have to make the conscious choice to use it. To pay attention to it, to dust it off and bring it out and use it as a tool to help me in my life. So that's what I'm talking about there, about etching this into my skin so that I would never forget it. So yes, I do think I am an intuitive. It just might take some practice to regain my sensitivity to that part of myself. And then the question of being an empath, different than having a strong sense of empathy. Okay, so being an empath, I'm telling myself, is different than having a strong sense of empathy. My understanding of an empath is someone who is extremely sensitive to the emotional climate created by others, to the extent that you can feel what they are feeling and can take on their mood as your own. I think I'm like this, but mildly. For some people, it delves into psychic abilities, and I can't claim anything like that. I don't know if my abilities even go much beyond just being highly observant of body language and having an active, vibrant imagination, which allows me to easily place myself in their shoes in my mind and be able to feel what I would imagine myself feeling in their situation. So it may not even be what they're feeling. Maybe I'm just projecting my imagined emotions onto other people. Haha. So I guess I can't make any claims there at the moment. More information is needed. So there's the big picture of me. Flaws, strengths, personality, horoscope, parts, possible life purpose, maybe some gifts, my core wounds, etc. Now, just more, I guess. More self-compassion, more self-awareness, more mindfulness, more openness, more honesty, and practice, practice, practice.